Hello there guys, it's Stephen here and Phil. Welcome back to FOOTY.COM. As you can see, I'm wearing this double-decker of a Manchester City third shirt. It's been released today, not a limited thing or anything. It's available now in store and on the high street and all that kind of stuff. And it's going to be Man City's European third shirt, I think. Phil, your initial impressions, what do you make of this as our shirt expert?
Well, it's an interesting one because I'm probably in the minority and I like the shirt. Now, I know a lot of City fans have been spending most of my morning on Twitter talking to City fans. It's been really interesting to hear their thoughts.
Productive morning.
Productive morning indeed. And I like the shirt, but it's a big talking point, definitely.
Yeah, no, I'm a City fan. Personally, I've just seen from the reviews of the home shirt and the away shirt. This is the third shirt on FOOTY.COM, and as ever, don't forget you can get the shirt for the best prices in the link below, so check it out afterwards. But we've reviewed all the shirts so far, and I'm coming from a City fan perspective, which is, I think, it's always interesting taking that angle, because I think as a shirt collector, you have a different view on it, and whereas me, as the fan of the club, I approach this shirt more emotionally, I would guess, and you would, because obviously it means something to me as a City fan. Now, the home shirt, I personally thought was kind of like bollocks. I didn't really like it at all. I think it was a naff kind of 6 out of 10 effort that was just there to make up the numbers ahead of City's move to Puma next season. But the away shirt, now that was popular. That was very popular. It harked back to the 98-99 season, obviously with Dickov. Had little touches of the kind of fluorescent colour in there. And it was just nice. And when I went to the City game the other weekend, the opening game of the season, that was everywhere. All the City fans are wearing it, which shows how popular a shirt can be when you get it right, when you get the heritage right. And this is what leads this to me. This is like, it to me as a City fan, it doesn't mean anything. So that's my issue with it, really.
Yeah, I think that's a really fair point. And obviously, as you say, you've got, if you're a fan of a club, anytime your team releases a shirt, there's a completely different perspective. You've got, you know, that connection. And it's an interesting perspective, because for me, as someone who's a bit more objective, I think there are a lot of things to like. And I think one of the initial things a lot of people say is obviously the colours. And that's the first thing which people talk about. Now, a lot of people say, what does purple have to do with City? Well, it's certainly not a key colour, but you have had some purple shirts, and to me, I can understand the decision, despite maybe the shade being a bit funny. Yeah. But then again, it's probably not the purple, it's more the orange. Then people say the orange sash, and where's that come from? Why does it work with purple?
I'm not a fan of orange in general. I think it's a goalkeeper shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, that's just my personal opinion. It's funny though, because it's so easy. If this was white and burgundy or something like that, or in reverse, this would be a hit. Yeah. And you wonder why they do that, because it's so obvious to make it a hit, and surely it would double the sales. Surely.
It is interesting, and I think my one, not that I'm trying to read into Nike's mind, but I can imagine maybe they thought with the away shirt, they sort of ticked the box there for a bit of a kind of fan service to an old shirt. But in reality, I think you're probably right. They probably could have doubled down on that. So instead of just sort of saying, okay, you got the away shirt, that's your kind of retro-inspired one. This one feels, obviously, they've gone completely the other direction, despite the sash, which is, again, a City thing. So it's a good move. But in general, I think the reaction has been definitely they'd like to see that classic colourway. You think of that fantastic Umbro shirt, was it 2010 or that
David
sort of time?
Silva one.
David Silva one of the best shirts in the Premier League ever. Genuinely, one of my favourites.
That's my band, Phil. That was beautiful, wasn't it?
The thing about that, they had the sponsor was nice and small. It was a really interesting design. The sash was big. Really lovely shirt.
You wouldn't get away with that these days.
You wouldn't get away with that now.
I've noticed, by the way, it hasn't got the Nexon on it, which I'm not sure if it's a European thing or whatever, but it hasn't got that.
That's an interesting one. I think a lot of clubs, I don't believe it's mandatory to have it on replica shirts, so some do, some don't.
They've got it certainly on the home one there, and the away one that we've got on their replica ones. So
and on Liverpool shirt as well.
So I wonder why. But one little bit of detail they've got, which obviously they'll do cut shots closer up now that you can see, is they've got basically what looks like an aerial view of Manchester, kind of a rainy day Manchester, I guess. It's quite blurry, but they have got what looks like the Etihad Stadium there. You can see it.
It is,
So that's quite an interesting little touch. I do appreciate that.
So that's Nike's approach to all their third shirts this year. You'll notice they basically have a theme every year. Yeah. The good thing this year, unlike last year where you had the kind of camo thing, so many teams look similar. You know, City's, Chelsea's, Atletico Madrid's, they're pretty much interchangeable. Yeah. At least this year, they've got the theme of the kind of cityscape print on the front, but you've got a different design. So that's good. I think that's definitely a step forward. Nike, obviously, they're usually the first people kind of people criticise for kind of modern kits all looking
Yeah.
the same. It's good to see the direction they're taking with some sort of uniqueness between teams.
I can't deny this isn't unique, you know, because
Yeah.
I haven't seen this sash on another team this
No.
season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's the only one of this
Yeah,
particular
so
style.
that is nice. It's just
The colours.
so close. I do like
Yeah.
the monochrome kind of style badge though.
Yeah.
I do like the difference of the badge. You know, that's
Yeah.
always nice.
I mean, imagining the normal crest on there, that would be way too much of the colours, you know.
It'd be a bit much.
It would be a bit much. That has divided opinion, but I'd agree. I like the way that it matches the Nike logo. Maybe the sponsor looks funny now.
Yeah, I was about to
you
say,
know,
like,
it's a funny one there. And
big consistency problems.
yeah, and no, I certainly think in terms of the colours, it is completely kind of love or hate. It's interesting that we've seen like Liverpool's away kit also with this similar colourway. You don't see purple and orange together. We get two in one go. Yeah, I think it's going to divide opinion. And the other thing, which is a bit of a disappointment for me, is the fact that it is, in terms of a third kit, another example of a shirt which is very similar to the away shirt. It's dark.
Yeah.
And
What's the point of it? Like,
exactly. And I think even someone who loves kits, I can't really defend that necessarily. I think basically we have to accept that now in the modern era, third shirts aren't there to be a difference in terms of colour. They're just there as another chance for brands to try something new, basically. So
try something new is a polite way of putting
that's
it.
the polite way of it. But I think, as I say, I would definitely go back to the positives of a unique design. I don't think it's as ridiculous in terms of the inspiration as it comes across initially.
Yeah.
I like the print. It is a bit blurry though. I
Do
would
you know
agree
what?
on that.
Even that white, it's a different shirt. That's
Sure.
that close. It's that white. It's
Yeah.
really the orange.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I think it goes to actually something a little bit cool. I
Could be
think it's
quite
that
nice.
close to it. It's weird, isn't it, how one colour can completely change the perception of a fan base. So I'm coming at it emotionally, which I think is fair enough. I'm a football fan after all, a Manchester City fan.
Yep.
And to be honest, I think all the City fans reading into the reactions haven't been like, I don't think they hate this shirt. I think they hate that it's a Man City shirt. And I don't think it's the worst football shirt ever. I actually think it's nicer than the home shirt in terms of an actual shirt, personally.
I'd agree.
And I also like how it hasn't got the vapor pattern or whatever on there. I like the fact that it hasn't got that.
Exactly.
So it doesn't feel quite as throwaway. But as a Manchester City shirt, that's where I struggle personally. It did drop out of nowhere as well, so it's interesting that it just came out of nowhere as well,
It is
isn't
interesting, yeah. So quite a surprise. A profile as big as City's. They're obviously the talk of everyone's lips at the moment with the documentary, with the decent start to the season. So very bizarre that it sort of just happened and no one seems to really be, pushing
Yeah,
it.
but it's happened. Anyway, I'm going to
Yep.
push you for a review. I'm going to give my score as well, but I want to see yours first, because I feel like I'm going to drag yours down a little bit in advance. I apologise.
No. For me. This actually does a lot of good things.
What does it do well? What does it do wrong?
So I appreciate the inspiration behind
Yep.
the colour and the design. I think they are linked to City. The orange is another question, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that we've got this. I like the theme that Nike have got with the third shirts, the kind of appreciating the city and introducing that. I think that's really strong. And I completely agree on things like the crest integrating well. I like that. I like, again, the vaping. It's a really good point that they're not forcing that look on all the shirts, so that's really good. The collar's fine. There's no problems there at all. So I think just in terms of a shirt and kind of, again, the direction that Nike have gone, I think it's a step forward. And I do like this. I do like this a lot more than the home. Not as much as the away, but this is for me is like a 77. I think I'd go as high as that. To take it further, I think there would be those, like you say, small details which could be improved. So certainly, a different colour would help it. I can't argue with that. The sponsor being integrated nicer, it just isn't very good in the white there normally.
Yeah.
As it is. But yeah, I do think there's a lot more to like than dislike, and I think you only have to go back a couple of years, and City had that hilarious kind of orange and purple number. I think this is definitely a step up from that.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually a decent shirt compared to many others.
See, I'm coming once again from the fan perspective, and I agree with a lot of things you said there. But I think football's about emotion, and it's about what it means to the fans. And once again, the whole cliche about football's nothing without the fans. And I just personally, sometimes you sit there as a fan and think, give me 5 minutes. Photoshop, and I feel I can make that sell twice as much. I know it's not as simple as that, but you do sit there and feel that. And obviously, fan service has its place, and it also there is negative to that as well, because things get samey, they get repetitive, and you don't want the same kits churned out every year. But there are there's plenty of brand identities to that Club Manchester City has with the history and the heritage, and there's loads of colour touch points that they could have gone off. And for me, if I was to choose two colours that I would not have gone near, it probably would have been these two. Quite literally, orange and purple. I was like, There's loads more colourways I would have chosen before. Like even the luminous kind of third shirt from like Pellegrini's last season or whatever. Even that's got. I would rather have gone back to that personally because that's become a little bit of an interesting kind of like meme kit for Man City, so to speak.
Yeah, interesting,
But it just falls down for me, not on the quality of the shirt. I think in general it feels quite nice. I quite like the texture on it in terms of. And I like the fact there's a sash. I agree. It's just a colour, and as a result, to me, it comes across.
How low are you going to go?
About 54.
Okay.
So it's like a 5 out of 10, 54 for me. It's something like that. I don't think it's the worst shirt ever made. I think it's nicer than probably nicer than the home kit, but I can't remember what I gave that, so I might be a consistent liar here. But I don't know.
You've spoken well for the fans there. Gauging the reaction, I think you've mirrored what I've seen from the majority.
Look, most of the City fans would go a lot lower than that, I think, what I can gather. I mean, I don't think it's. I think in general the truth tends to lie somewhere in the middle, and I kind of understand your eye, I understand the fans' eye, because the fans are the ones who expected to pay 65 quid for it, which is like a different thing entirely. But anyway, guys, that's just our verdict. Tell us why we were wrong or why we were right, depending on who you believe. Let us know in the comments what you think of the shirt. And don't forget as well, you can check out the shirt below for the cheapest price available anywhere on FOOTY.COM. And also, don't forget to subscribe. You are new to FOOTY.COM. We do loads of shirt reviews, loads of football content, and all that kind of stuff. I've been Stephen. It's been Phil. Yeah, that was his line in a bit.